In an interview with the New York Times, Senator JD Vance repeatedly refused to acknowledge Donald J. Trump's defeat and say he would not have certified the 2020 results. During an interview with Lulu Garcia-Navarro, host of the interview, Senator JD Vance of Ohio repeatedly dodged a question on whether he believed Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Heading into the final 3 weeks of 2024 election, Senator JD Vance of Ohio will still not say whether his running mates won or lost the last race for the White House. In an interview with the New York Times that was published on Saturday, Mr. Vance repeatedly refused to acknowledge former President Donald J. Trump's defeat and went to even greater lengths to avoid doing so that he did during the vice presidential debate earlier this month. When asked about the previous election during an hour-long interview with Lulu Garcia-Navarro, the Republican vice presidential nominee responded that he was focused on the future. It was the same phrase he used to evade during his debate with his Democratic rival, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again, Mrs. Garcia-Navarro says. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Last few questions. In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator,
Lulu,
yes or no?
Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
And I've answered your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete, a problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies—
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no.